I have been tracking my food, calories, and macros for over 3 weeks now. Here's why. Hi, I'm Sydney, this is my Flock and Squawk, and I like to talk about my thoughts, experiences, and my vintage fancies, and today we're talking health and diet. I am not an expert in any way, this is not advice, so let's get into it. So there are a few reasons why I am tracking my diet, and one of the big ones is that I used to be more active in the past. Currently, I live a very sedentary life, but in the past, I used to work out multiple days a week, various amounts of working out, and a lot of cardio. Even in college, I was walking around campus all day, as well as walking to any grocery stores or any places I may need to go, because I didn't have a car at college. Now, I am back living in a place where I have a car, and I also cannot physically walk most places. I walk my puppy every day, but that amount of walking is not the same amount that I used to in the past with college and having to walk to the grocery store. So my current situation is a lot more sedentary, working an office job, as opposed to how it used to be in middle school, high school, where I would work out multiple times a week, or in college when I was walking everywhere I went. And that sort of leads into my issue that I was mainly having, is that I was still eating the volume and calories that I probably would when I'm working out, when I'm not nearly as active as I used to be, as I was when I was eating that way to begin with. I can easily eat a lot fewer calories now because I'm not burning as many calories in a day. But I was still continuing to eat that way. I also was having a very high carb diet, which, if you're an athlete and constantly working out, is very beneficial to have carbs to burn, to use as energy, to use as fuel. But in a sedentary lifestyle, I had an excess of carbohydrates in my diet. It was primarily carbs and fat and very little protein, which for some people makes a lot of sense, but for me, since I was so sedentary and am so sedentary, it doesn't make sense that I only would eat junk food or carbs, but the carbs that I would go for are very processed, like Pringles or sweets, a lot of food that is more heavily processed, and I was drawn to it. So I have been tracking my macros and my calories to make sure that I'm eating an appropriate amount of calories for my actual lifestyle that I currently have, at a very slight deficit, to slowly lose some weight that I had put on from eating like I was still active. So for the past almost 4 weeks now, I have lost 10 pounds. But I have done it through a slight deficit and hitting some key things that I felt were important to have in my diet. One is that I am eating and focusing in on making sure I meet my protein goal for the day. Now, my protein goal is based off of reaching about 30% of my daily calories and have that be my protein, which for me looks like about 130 grams of protein in a day, which is a lot of protein. But by hitting my protein goal, I'm not as hungry, because protein is very satisfying as a food, for me at least, very satisfying and very filling. So if I hit my protein goal, then I'm not drawn as much to some of the high-fat, carby snacks that I used to, because I'm so full with eating a high-protein diet, as well as the high-protein foods that I'm going for, such as fish, chicken, shrimp. That is very unprocessed in a lot of ways. Yes, I do eat a lot of ground meat, but it is less processed than, say, like a French fry. Not that that is super processed, but because it's deep fried, it's a different kind of food. And I'm not saying no to any foods, but I'm making sure that I reach that high protein goal, as well as reaching my fiber goal for the day, because I know I was definitely not reaching my fiber goal previously. And I'm also making sure that I maintain that slight deficit, but I'm drinking all of my water for the day. I'm reaching 72, I believe, ounces of water in a day. And even just like tracking small things, like seeing how much half and half I'm using in my coffee in the morning, has really brought me more mindful, because 2 tablespoons of half and half is very satisfying in the size coffee cup I use. But before, when I was free pouring, I was probably putting 4 or so tablespoons in a cup, which adds up to a lot of excess calories that I didn't necessarily need in my diet because I was so sedentary, or am so sedentary. So that's sort of the reason of getting an idea of where I was, and how having a goal that was, it's not a very restrictive goal, but it's just I'm reaching and making sure that I'm getting enough protein in my meals to feel satisfied. And for me, that's about 30% of my daily calories. So to answer the title, no, I don't believe I'm fat. If you look at me, I am not physically obese in any way, but I definitely was feeling uncomfortable with myself. In the evenings, I felt very bloated, and I felt like I wasn't, because I wasn't active, I felt like I didn't feel active. I felt like I was putting on extra body mass and not building muscle. I was just sort of feeling like I was rounding out, which is by no means is bad, and it depends on your goals. I just wanted to feel like I was fit. I still wear the same size clothes. I still, as I did in high school and middle school to now, and I still wear the same size clothes, but I was just feeling less fit. And by eating a higher protein diet, I'm able to lose a little bit of the extra fat, and drinking all my water means that hopefully my water weight is sort of at least maintaining, so it's not fluctuating as much. I don't know the science behind that. I just felt like making sure that I'm drinking my water would be beneficial. So I just want to feel fit. I want to feel like I have my life together and not feel like I'm eating excess calories that are just going to not benefit me and not work with my lifestyle. I wanted to do it sustainably, and looking at my diet and my goal of just wanting to feel a little fitter, not really, I don't want to lose any muscle, and thinking about my lifestyle, I decided that it was going to be most sustainable for me to just increase my protein level, work on my fiber, work on my water, and have a slight deficit from my calories that I was eating to reevaluate where I am. And really sustainable for my goals, my body, my lifestyle. And I don't think that I'll be tracking forever. It's just sort of like putting on a pair of training wheels before I start riding a bike. I've got to know where I am before I can, and how to get there, formulate a plan before I personally feel like I can just let myself go and walk, or in this analogy, take the training wheels off and just ride the bike. And I know tracking isn't for everyone, so what are your thoughts on tracking your calories and tracking your macros? Do you think that it is a potentially slippery slope, or do you feel that for you it's a helpful tool? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know your thoughts and suggestions on tracking calories, how to improve your physical fitness through diet. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.